Welcome to another episode of Joey's Scarf. My name is Linda, and you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Linda Grace, and that's Linda with a Y. Today's October 30th, 2017, and in my part of the world or country, it is Mischief Night. And when I was a kid, I used to go out on Mischief Night, and I did create some mischief, some of which I'm not too proud of. But anyway, I'm recording this today. It's a beautiful, beautiful day today in Barnegat, New Jersey. It's a bright blue skies, and the temperatures are probably around 60, and it's nice and cool today, a little breezy. And I'm looking out at my little yard, and the birds are going crazy, just going from pine to pine, and it's a little distracting. But I want to welcome you, and I hope you enjoy this episode. We have a group on Ravelry called Joey's Scarf, and we are currently doing a knit-along, a Christmas stocking knit-along, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. Last weekend, Ross and I went to Rhinebeck. Yes, we did. I had hesitated about going. I was debating back and forth whether I wanted to go or not. We had gone last year, and it was my first year to go last year. And it was an experience. It is an experience. So I figured I did it last year. I knew what it was all about, and I wasn't sure I wanted to go again this year. But I was tempted by all of the Instagram posts and the YouTube videos of everybody anticipating going, and it got me excited, and I wanted to go. It made me want to go too. So we went. I decided there was no way I wanted to go on Saturday. It is really hectic on Saturday, so I hear. Last year we went on Sunday, and it wasn't too bad, so I figured we'd do the same thing this year. And from hearing other reports of people's weekends at Rhinebeck, Sunday was the better choice to go. It wasn't as crazy as it was on Saturday. So we got up early on Sunday morning. It's drivable. It's about a little over 3 hours for us to drive, and we had made reservations to stay overnight. So we were going to do the festival on Sunday and stay over and come back on Monday. It was a very foggy drive Sunday morning, and it did clear up as we got further on the road. It did clear up, so it wasn't too bad. Just the first part of the trip, maybe a half hour or so, it was a little foggy. I'm going to put some video in here so you can see. Yeah, so the drive up was fairly easy, no traffic. It's a pretty drive, actually, and we did get to see a little bit of color on the way up. The leaves were starting to change, and it turned out to be a really pretty day. On the way up, I was checking my Instagram and noticed that the Crafty Toads, Helen and Mary Beth, were also on their way up on Sunday. So we kind of communicated through Instagram, and I told them that the first thing I wanted to do was go to the Ravelry meetup on the hill. Now, if you're an experienced Rhinebeck goer, you know what that means, on the hill. We had no clue what that meant. But, so we didn't have to, at the parking, we got there, the parking was a cinch. We didn't have to park too far back. But Rhinebeck, there's a lot of hills, so to get up to the gate, we had to climb, quite a bit of a hill. And we didn't go in the main gate. I'm not sure what gate we went through, but I had purchased tickets online, so we just went right through. We didn't have to stand in line. And then the mission was to find the hill. And Ross and I are such novices with this. We were, I felt like we were spinning around in circles. We stopped and stopped at the first aid building and asked if they knew where the hill was. The guy looked at us like we were crazy. But somehow, I don't know how I found out that the hill was by the main gate. So we asked somebody to point us in the direction of the main gate, and that's where we finally found the hill. Now, whether I could find that hill again, I kind of doubt it. But we got there in time to meet, to be there for the Ravelry meetup. And I spotted Helen and Mary Beth right away, and they spotted me, and we went over to say hello to them. And then I searched out the person who was handing out the buttons, and that was it. I just wanted the button. But I wasn't sure what we were supposed to be doing, because Mary Beth and Helen were the only two people I recognized, and me being the shy person that I am, we just kind of stood there, and Ross kept saying, well, what are we supposed to do now? And I said, I don't know, And Mary Beth and Helen had taken off. They were anxious to get going and go shopping. So we stood around for a little bit. I looked around. I didn't see anybody I recognized. So we decided, okay, let's get going. Here's a hint. It is overwhelming. The size of the festival is overwhelming. They give you a map when you walk in, a little brochure, but I didn't plan, and I think if I ever went again, I would plan on what I wanted to see and maybe have an idea in mind of what kind of yarn I wanted, or have a project in mind, and I didn't have any of that. Last year, I think it was actually, we didn't seem it wasn't as confusing for us last year. We just systematically went barn by barn, and and just browsed up and down the aisles. This year, for some reason, we were really out of sorts. We are wandering aimlessly. We have no idea what we're doing or where we're going, and we're walking around in circles. I'm getting very frustrated.
Right now we're here at Scooter's Pretzels.
I have not bought one thing of yarn yet. I think one of the issues was I had been speaking to my sister on the way up also, and she mentioned to me that a friend of hers had a booth at Rhinebeck. Sorry, bird. And she said, you should stop in and see her. So she texted the woman, and she got back to me to tell me what barn she was going to be in, and I can't remember the woman's name. I'm so sorry. But she, wait, hang on a second. It was on my phone, but it was Chris, and Chris is part of a co-op that breed a sheep called, the breed is called Coopworths, and apparently it's not a well-known breed, but there are a few sheep breeders in the area, and not enough, I guess, to each have their individual booth. So Chris, that's my sister's friend, she was manning the booth, and they had yarn from all different sheep breeders in her booth to highlight their wool, the Coopworth wool. And I did stop and get I did stop to see Chris, and that seemed to be the issue. It was on our list of things to do to stop and see Chris. after we did the Ravelry thing, we headed right over to Barn 30 where Chris had her booth, and we walked in and asked for Chris. She wasn't there, so we went out, walked around a little bit, and we went back 3 times looking for Chris, and I think that's what was on our minds and why we were a little discombobulated, I think, because we had that on our minds that we had to stop and see Chris, because my sister had told her we were coming, and I just didn't want her to wait for us and and not show up. But anyway, by the 4th try we finally found her. But that kind of prevented us from doing a systematic barn by barn, I think. But anyway, I did get a skein of Coopworth yarn. It is very woolly. I like it. It feels nice. But it's not a super wash or anything like that. It's strictly, wool, 100% Coopworth wool. And this one is grown and spun in the hills of Vermont. And their farm is Mountain View Coopworths. And my sister's friend Chris has a farm in Allentown, New Jersey. So that was one of the things we had to do, and it kind of prevented us, I think. Not that, it's just that we kept going back and she wasn't there, and we kept going back and she wasn't there. And I felt like we were just spinning around in circles, and it wasn't as productive as I think my first time at Rhinebeck. I feel like I'm rambling on and on here. I had a pretty rough morning this morning trying to get ready for the podcast. I was going to record it right onto my computer today, so I moved everything into the sunroom, unplugged my computer from the den, plugged it in. My keyboard wouldn't work, so I had to switch out the keyboard. I got that all set up, and then I called up iMovie, pressed record, and it wouldn't record. So I was fussing with that. So I feel like I should just breathe, take a breath, and just relax and start over again, really. But I'm not going to. So I think that is the tip. If you're going to Rhinebeck, because it really is overwhelming, try and have a plan in mind, and it probably won't even work out. My interpretation or my take on Rhinebeck is probably different from a lot of the other podcasters that have been doing their recaps, their Rhinebeck recaps. My goal was to go and see the yarn, basically, and the animals, and I wasn't really there for a social experience. I think most of the podcasters who are doing recaps met up with other people that they knew, and it was a group whole weekend thing, and it seemed like it enhanced the experience. I obviously didn't have that experience. And it was interesting because last year I did spot some podcasters that I knew. This year I didn't see anyone that I recognized, which really wasn't my intention to do that. I just, as I said, I wanted to go and just see the crowds and walk around, and it was a nice day, and just be there. And so that was my experience. One of the things I find interesting, just listening to other podcasters talk about their experience. Most of them went, the ones that I listened to, and I listened to quite a few of the recaps, all went to Rhinebeck on Saturday. They did the Friday night Needles Up, and then they did the Indie Undyed, which I hear was really, really overwhelming also. It was very crowded. But they, most of them did the Saturday Rhinebeck. And just watching the lines to enter into the fairgrounds, and lines, I guess, where, you know, once everybody gets onto the fairgrounds, there are certain booths that everyone heads for immediately, and one of them is Jenny the Potter. I don't think I've ever seen her stuff, and I didn't know where her booth was, so I didn't find her. But apparently there were long lines to see her, and also to see Miss Babs' yarn. I saw pictures of the lines for Miss Babs' yarn, and it was unbelievable. Actually, I think it was at the Maryland Sheep and Wool when I went, I experienced that. I saw the lines, and what was interesting about that, when I went to Maryland Sheep and Wool, and Miss Babs was there, I did stand. You couldn't get into the booth. You really couldn't spend any time into the booth, and actually they were only letting a certain number of people in at a time. So I wanted to take more time, so I didn't buy anything at the Maryland Sheep and Wool from Miss Babs. And what happened when I got home, I figured, I mean, you can buy Miss Babs online. And it just so happened that I went to her website when I got home, and she was having a sale. So it was actually worked out better for me. But anyway, back to Rhinebeck. So on Sunday, I did manage to go to Miss Babs' booth, and there was, at 2 o'clock on Sunday, there was no line. She had plenty of yarn. It was a leisurely experience. And another tip, if you want to get Miss Babs' yarn, apparently she brings enough yarn that you don't have to stand in line. You don't have to shove and push and try and get into the booth, because Sunday she had, at 2 o'clock, she still had plenty of yarn left, and there was absolutely no line, and I could spend as much time as I wanted looking around. So this is what I picked up from Miss Babs. And this is her Yowza, and it's a light worsted yarn, and it is 560 yards, and I think it's just beautiful. It is 100% superwash merino wool, about 8 ounces and 225 grams. I bought 2 skeins, and they're the same, and the colorway is Mayhem. And I'm hoping I have enough for a sweater. And I actually, when I got home, I checked, and she did have some more of this, and I should get on the stick and just get another skein, because I don't want to run out. I was hesitating when I was in the booth. She did have enough there. I could have bought another skein, but I don't know. I don't know why I didn't, but I can always order it, I hope. But those were my 2 purchases. That was it from Rhinebeck. The Coopworth yarn and the Miss Babs. And when I purchased this, I said, I'm done. I'm happy. So we wandered around a little bit more, and it was very, very warm also, which was kind of amazing. You couldn't wear a jacket or anything. That's how warm it was. There were some interesting lines still on Sunday. There was a huge line, and I'm going to put a video or a picture in here of people waiting in line for lamb sandwiches, which I really didn't understand that, but it must be a thing. And also the apple cider donuts. We didn't get any apple cider donuts there, but on the way home, we stopped at a farm stand, and they had apple cider donuts, so we were able to get them anyway. So that was our Rhinebeck experience, and there's probably going to be videos here and there about that. But I last year when I went, I said, you know what, I had the experience. I'm probably not going to go back, but I did go back, and I'll probably have the same thing happen next year, because it is a pretty drive. It is a nice day to be out if the weather's nice, and so we'll see about next year. But I'm going to start talking about my knitting now. My first finished object, I don't have it here in person to show you, but I'm going to put a little video in here to tell you about my first finished object. Here's the socks. It's my usual plain vanilla. And that's it. It's my October socks for the Naughty Knit with Socket. And I made them for my daughter Jen. It was her birthday. So yesterday we went up to see them, and I brought the socks with me, and that's why I don't have them here. But the yarn I used was a vintage, actually, I call it vintage, from Legacy Fiber Arts. It was one when Sue just had started dyeing yarn and selling yarn about a year ago. And this was one of her first yarns that she dyed, and it was in the fall. And this is called Winnie Sanderson. I'm not sure what that is a reference to, because, you know, pop culture. But anyway, it's a beautiful blend of, it reminds me of fall, of leaves, just walking in the leaves. There's all the different colors, and the socks really came out nice, and I'm going to be putting a picture in here and there. I did the heels in Knit Picks, and it's the Stroll Glimmer. And this is Foxglove colorway. So this was the main part of the sock, was the Legacy Fiber Arts. So I had purchased it a year ago, and I'm just using it now. So that's my first finished object. So my next finished object, and I'm really excited about this, is I finished the Pearl Break shawl by Stephen West. It was it was an experience. A lot of knitting. I don't think I've ever made a shawl this big. There were over 500 stitches on the needle when I finished. This is the shawl, and it's really, really, really big. Am I showing the right side? No, this is the right side. I think I love the way it came out. I think it's beautiful. Yes, I do. Pat myself on the back, and Stephen West, of course. Really hard to get a feel for the width of this and the length of it. It's actually, I would have to say, it's probably a little too big for me. I don't know how to wear it. So I guess you just kind of do this, maybe flip it around like this, like that. I don't know. That way maybe. And I have the windows open in here, so it's cool enough for me to be able to wear this. Or I guess you could do it this way. Then I feel like I have all this stuff here, and I don't think I like it this way. No, not that way. It was an easy pattern to follow. I really didn't have much problem following it, except that I did have some trouble with these spokes. These things here. And no, they're not perfect. I think there are 8 of them. But towards the end of knitting this, what I discovered was what I should have done, and I finally did it, was, you place markers so that you know when to do this part of it. He calls for just to place a marker. What I finally did was I placed a marker on each side of the spoke so that it really isolated that stitch, so that when I came to it I would know, because when you're on the wrong side it's not as easy to figure out where you are when you're doing it. But once I put a stitch marker on either side of this stitch, it made it so much easier. So that's a tip if you're going to make this. It just feels so nice and squishy. And I'm going to put it on. Do something like that. What do you think? Maybe a shawl pin is in order, or tie it up somehow. I don't know. Something like this. Whatever. But that's not the time to be styling this right now, I guess. Do a lot of stuff with it. Feels nice right now. It's chilly in here. So, the yarn. The brown, the main color here, which is used every other row, is with this dark brown color. Is from Cozy Colorworks. And I got this at the New Jersey Sheep and Wool Festival. And it is superwash merino, and the skein was a nice big skein. It was 550 yards, and it's fingering weight. And yeah, I guess it's 100% superwash merino. This is what I have left of that. And the color is pecan. So that's this color here. Then the pink here, pinkish color, is from Toad Hollow Yarns. And they have an Etsy shop. And this colorway, it's on their Drusilla base, and it's called Bad Tuesday. And this is 80%, 20% blend, 80% merino, 20% nylon. This is what I had. This is what this looks like. And that's how much I have left of that. And that's also in the border that I did here. And the third color I used was by Sweet Sparrow Yarns. And that is this color here with the blues and the pinks. That's what I had left of that. And that's a tweed. And it is Sweet Sparrow yarn. Colorway is Dickin. And it is 85% superwash merino and 15% nylon tweed. I love the colors. I'm not sure I like the tweed in this anyway, because I feel like I want to keep pulling on this like there's pills, or you know, and it's the tweed. So I don't know if I like that too much, but I love the color. I guess it doesn't, I think the tweed doesn't show up as well. So that's my big project that I finished, and I love it. Feels nice and it's cozy, and I can do that. Okay. Oh, this is going to be some crazy podcast. All right. So that's my second finished object. I'm going to show you the third one. Wait. Okay, my third finished object leads me into the Ravelry group, Joey Scarf. Hang on a second. Let me pull you closer. Okay. That we're having, and it's the idea is to knit a Christmas stocking or crochet, and I thought that if enough people participated, we could exchange Christmas stockings filled with some goodies. So if we have enough participation, I would partner up people, and you would have a partner to exchange Christmas stockings with. To tell you the truth, there doesn't seem to be a lot of participation. There are a few of us making it, and cute, some cute, well, actually it's just me and Victoria so far who have made, I think. But anyway, I've extended the date. I think originally I said it was going to end on November 3rd or 4th, but I've extended it to the 19th, so you still have a chance. And these really don't take very much time to do. You can pick out an easy pattern. There's granny square Christmas stockings. They don't take much time at all. But this is my first one that I made, and I think it really came out cute. And all I did was just make a giant sock with an afterthought heel and a cuff. And the cuff I made long, and then I just turned it over and I tacked it down. And then I made a little crochet chain thing here and threw some pom-poms on, and there you have it. It's a Christmas stocking. The yarn. So I used, all three colors are Plymouth yarn, Encore, and this color is burgundy, and I think it's a heather, the main color. The green is forest green, and the white is 208 white, and it's got some pink in there. I really thought it came out nice. I hope somebody gets this filled with goodies. So please, if you'd like to participate, please join us. It'll be fun. And I know it's a busy time and everybody's trying to get their Christmas knitting done, but this would be nice to get a stocking of your own in the mail, don't you think? So that's all of my finished objects, but I do have some, and I don't even Yes, I do have some works in progress. But going back to the Christmas stocking, or continuing with the Christmas stocking, I should say, I I'm looking to make another one, and I want to crochet one. So I found a really cute pattern from Red Heart, and I don't know if you can see that without the glare. But if you go, I'll put a link in. If you go, actually, if you're going to participate, in the group, in the chatter thread, and I do have a chatter thread. I have a link to this pattern, to this Red Heart pattern, and it's crocheted, and I want to make it. I just don't have the yarn, so I have to go to Michael's and get some yarn and some funky colors. So that's just a suggestion if you want to join us. So I do have some two works in progress, and this is the first one is the garter squish blanket that I'm making for my son-in-law Derek for Christmas, and I've gotten pretty far on it. Not far enough, because Christmas is going to be here before you know it. But this is what I have so far. So I'm doing the, what is he? Chicago Bears, I think. That's his team. It's the blue, the navy blue and orange. So I'm going to be alternating these blocks of color all the way up. And so this is such a cool blanket, it really is. And I think this yarn is, this is from Hobby Lobby, and it's, I love this yarn. It's it's a worsted weight, and I'm holding two colors together to get this look. But it's going to be pretty big, and he's tall. He's like 6 feet tall, so I've got a ways to go. And I really have to start working on this. I'm liking the way it's coming out. I think he'll love it. My other work in progress, I'm very excited about. And I'm doing a test knit. It's the first time I've ever done a test knit. And I'm test knitting a shawl for Wendy. Hi, Wendy, from the Baba Yaya podcast. And Wendy is a designer, and this is her latest, and it hasn't been released yet. I just love this pattern. It is called Over Easy Shawl. So I guess she's got a couple of test knitters doing it, and once we are done with our test knit, I'm sure she'll release it. It's really great. It's a great pattern. So let me show you how far I've gotten and what I'm doing. So this is how far I've gotten on mine. Isn't it pretty? The detail is just so cool with these lace panels and the scalloped edge. And I have to say, it is an easy knit once I got the hang of it. Once I got the hang of the lace part. It's simple to do. There's really no counting or anything like that, because she has you mark off the sections for the lace with markers, so and it's, you know where you are once you get to the marker. I know what I'm supposed to do. Yeah, but I'm not a big lace knitter, so it took me a little bit to get the hang of the lace, but once I did, it was pretty easy. So it's an asymmetrical shawl, and my issue, probably not going to have very much yarn, enough yarn left to make it big enough, so I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know if it's too late to incorporate another color in here, but we'll see. I mean, I hate to get to a point and find out that it's too small, so I think I am going to try and find a color that will go with this and start to incorporate another color into it, because there's not much yarn left. And this yarn is, whoops, by Savvy Skeins, and it's 100% superwash merino. And the colorway is chromatic. I wonder if I can get this, because I purchased this at a yarn store quite a while ago, but she does have a website, and it's savvyskeins.com. So maybe I can get some more, or try and pick up some color here, one of the colors here, to start bringing another color into it. So this is the fingering weight. I also started, I wanted to see what it would look like with DK weight. So I cast on another version of it, and I only got that far so far. That's what it looks like with DK. And this is really nice yarn too. The variegated, which is this, is by Shirsty Cat Designs. Let me open this up. She does a lot of the shows. I think she was at New Jersey Sheep and Wool. Yeah, and I think she does Maryland Sheep and Wool too. So this is 100% superwash merino, and it's the DK weight. And this color is called Vamp. I really love this color. And it's got some reds and purples. So that's that. And then the other color I put in, which is this color, which is purple, is by the Fiber Company. And this is 50% baby alpaca, 30% merino, 20% bamboo. And that's what this is. And I guess the color is crocus. So I have two of Wendy's over easy shawls going. It is an addictive knit, I have to say. So be on the lookout for Wendy's pattern. So that's it for my works in progress. Hang on, here I come with what I'm going to be doing in the future. So my future plans for knitting are, I want to make a sweater. I've been looking around. I just want to make a plain cardigan sweater, and I've been looking for a pattern, and I found this on the Barocco website, and that's pretty much what I want to make. Just a simple cardigan. This is, I think, pretty sure this is raglan sleeve. I'm not sure. This is a free pattern on the Barocco website. And I'm not sure of the construction. I haven't really read it. Okay, it says this garment is worked from the top down. The yoke is worked with raglan shaping, then divided for body and sleeves. The body is worked in one piece, the sleeves are worked down and around, and the front bands and neck band are picked up and worked afterwards. That's what it looks like. I think it's really pretty. Of course, I had a hard time deciding on yarn, and I didn't want to spend a lot of money on the yarn because I wanted this to be sort of a practice piece for me. So I decided to go with Barocco, and I chose the vintage, and this is the color I chose. It's kind of dull looking, isn't it? I think the red is really nicer. This color is, I don't know what color it is. It's color 5137, whatever the color is, but it's not showing, it's showing more of a gray, but it has like a greenish tint to it, really, in real life. Not sure how that will look on me. Then I was thinking, I wonder if this would be too much, though. This is the Miss Babs yarn. Too much for this sweater? What do you think? I don't know. I haven't made up my mind yet. I want to make something with this. It feels so nice. So it's going to be either one of these two. What do you think? That's pretty much all I have as far as what I want to cast on next. Of course, there's the November socks. I'll be doing those. I haven't chosen the yarn yet. And I think that's pretty much it. Those of you who are familiar with my podcast know the name of my podcast, which is Joey's Scarf. You know that it's in memory of my son Joe, who died. It's going to be 6 years in December 5th. And as I said last podcast, this is really a hard time of the year for us. Trying just to keep busy and not think of the hard times. But it's kind of hard not to do that. But I miss Joe so much, and you know, as a mother, when he passed away, I think the hardest time for me to reckon with was hoping that he's okay, you know, that wherever he is, that he's doing okay. I'm sorry. It's hard. That's why this makes me happy and cheerful. I bet Joe would love a scarf out of this. What do you think? I think he would. But I think that's all I have for today. I hope you enjoyed the episode. I hope you enjoyed my Rhinebeck ramblings. Oh, I wanted to tell you one thing. We had a good experience. I think it was last week sometime. Victoria from Victoria Knits, hi Victoria, and Wendy from Baba Yaya got together and we did a chat, a video chat. We used Google Hangout, and the three of us got together, and it was really neat. I'm in New Jersey. Wendy is in Illinois, and Victoria is in Montana. And my neighbor Sue came over too. Hi, Sue. And the four of us chatted for about an hour maybe, and it was really great. It's a lot more personal than an email or an Instagram chat. It was just so nice to laugh and to get together. And hey, maybe next year the three of us will do Rhinebeck and do the whole thing. What do you think, Wendy? What do you think, Victoria? Maybe, huh? So that's it for today, and I hope to see you next time. And I hope you have a good time during the next, till I see you again. So thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Bye now.